You should have a Google account in order to sign in to Thunkable, and you cannot sign in with the email address that you have. So please do create a Google account if you don't have one and sign in to Thunkable, and let us meet after signing in our dashboard. So I have just signed in to Thunkable, and this is my dashboard. At the top I can find different options such as creating a new app, uploading an app project. I will explain about all these options available here later. The test option available here lets you test your app while creating it. The Thunkable Live is a mobile app with the help of which you can test your app while you are creating it. You can also use USB connection in order to test that, and this reset connection and hard reset options available here will help you to reset the connection if something goes wrong. In the export section, you can find different options. The first one includes provide QR code for .apk, and with this one you can scan the QR code and download it right in your mobile phone. And the second option helps you to download the APK file to your computer. In the help option, you can find out different options such as about, community. You can go to the community website of Thunkable where you can find different fellow developers and you can ask questions there regarding any problem that you have. In the document section, you can find a detailed information regarding the blogs, the different components available. And the tutorial section is a place where you can find different video tutorials. I strongly recommend to use documentation, go through the tutorials, and whenever necessary, ask questions in the community. You can change the language of Thunkable to different options available there. And apart from that, here is an option to sign into Thunkable X and sign out of Thunkable. Sign into Thunkable X means the using another platform of Thunkable, which is a very new. And the Thunkable X is a platform where you can create parallelly both Android and iOS apps. In order to create a new app, you can click this button or else just click the apps option, and here also you can find the create new app option. Uploading an app project.aia from my computer means you can upload a Thunkable project to this dashboard. If you want to share the project instead of the APK file, you should export it to .aia with the option available, and then you can make use of it again or else you can share it with others. Apart from that, you can also find the other option saying upload app project.aia from repository. Repository is a place where you can find some of the AI files. It is good to practice, so by default you can find a template that is hello per, which is also an example tutorial present in MIT website. So this is the template that you can make use of. Apart from that, if you have a URL of any AI project, then you can add it here. If you want to download all the AIA files of your projects, then you have to click this download all app projects. Right now we haven't opened any project, and hence this option is disabled, which is download app project.aia to my computer. When you open any project, then this option will be enabled. Saving the app, save app as. So by default you need not save this app because it will be done by Thunkable itself. From time to time your app will be saved, and below you can find another option saying save app as. This helps you to create another file of the same project. So when I click on save app as, it asks me to add a different name for this project, so that can create a duplicate project on your dashboard. Apart from this, the key store is also very important. The key store is very important to publish your app to Google Play Store. If you have created the project in some other platform such as App Inventor or Appy Builder, then if you want to just shift to this platform, then you should be able to export the key store and import it here, because the key store file of your app is very important and Google Play Store will check it in order to rectify that whether this app is belongs to this person or not. It is a kind of key to upgrade your app on Google Play Store. So let us create our new project. When I click create new project, it will open a pop-up where I have to add a name for the project. So I will add the name that we want. So this will be Translator app. One thing you have to note is that you cannot add spaces in the app name. You can just add underscore instead of adding a space. So I will just add underscore and I will add a name as app and click on OK. So this one is created, this project is created, and it will launch the Thunkable, and this is the place where we are going to create our app. Right now we are on designer section, and this is a place where we add different elements, or rather you can say components, onto our app and adjust their positioning so that it looks beautiful. And there exists another tab called blocks, and when you click that, you can find the blocks editor is in this manner. And here by default you can find different blocks that include the control blocks, logic blocks, math blocks, text blocks, blocks related to the lists, and more. The procedures are similar to the functions in case of Java programming. And here at the bottom, right now any component is not added, but after a component is added, the blocks related to that component will be visible. So right now these are the blocks for the screen 1. Let us go to the designer tab, and first of all let us add a text box. Okay, so I will drag a text box and I will drop it here. On the left hand side, this is a user interface tab which is open right now. This is a drop down, right? And under that you can find different components which are related to user interface that include button, checkbox, date picker, image, label, and more. And below that you can also find different other drop downs such as layouts, media, drawing and animations, sensors, and more. I'll explain you about that. On the right hand side you can find different tabs such as components tab, the properties tab, and at the bottom here you can find a media tab. So in the media tab you can upload the file, and the uploaded file will be visible here. And in the component section you can find the different components that are added into this screen. You can create a new screen and also remove a screen. You can add a new screen. It is a complete new space. You can move from one screen to another by adding the interactivity in the block section. If you have more than one screen, then all the screens will be displayed there. In the component section you can find out the different components that you have added, and these are the components that are under screen 1. The components added to the screen 1 will be available here. As we have just added the text box onto our mobile phone, you can say it as a preview of your mobile phone. Okay, and you can get a clear idea about how you are designing the different components by watching here. You can also create a preview of a tablet's device. In order to create a preview of tablet device, you have to make your app responsive first. In order to make your app responsive, click on screen 1 in the component section, and here the properties related to the screen 1 will be displayed, and that include the accent color, the default alignment of the components. So right now we have added a text box as the alignment, horizontal alignment of the text box of the any component which is added on screen 1 is set to be centered, and hence it is available at the center. Let us make changes to this one. I want to change the horizontal alignment of screen 1 to left. Then now you can find this text box is available on the left hand side, but however center is okay, so I will just change it. And even you can change the vertical alignment. If I just select center, then you can find the text box is available at the center. I will again change it to the top. So this is the app name that we have added while creating it. You can change it here, but the project name will not be changed. Only the name of the app will be changed. This is the name which will be displayed on the icon. Okay, so if you have created your app and downloaded the APK file, below the icon you can find the text that is the name of the app. This is the text that will be displayed there. So that's why I'm going to change it. I will just remove the underscore and add a space there. This is a background default color, that is a white. And the background, you can also select the background image instead of the color. There are basic animations for the screen one, when the screen one is open and when the screen one is closed, which you can change here. The screen orientation for this app is to be portrait, so I'll just change it to portrait. And below, you can also make this app scrollable, but it is not good option in some cases, and even for this app it's not necessary. Show status bar, this black color which shows the network connection, the Wi-Fi connection, the battery, and the time, is what we call as status bar of the phone. And when you uncheck this option, it will hide the status bar. I will enable this one. We want the status bar, right? At least for now. Sizing, talking about sizing, it's fixed right now. And when you make responsive, based on the screen, the sizing of different elements or the components will be changed. And you have to make your screen responsive in order to be compatible with a tablet. And as I have just changed the sizing to responsive, you can find that the preview for the tablet size has been enabled. And when I will just check this option, now the image or the preview that you are seeing here is for a tablet device. And below sizing, you can find other options such as the theme. Right now it's device default. You can choose classic, black title text, dark, and these are about 4 themes available here. You can choose any one of them. And the title of this screen is screen 1 right now. I will just change it to Translator. And now here you can find that the text has been changed. Below that, the title bar color, the option to change the title bar color is available. It's blue right now. It's okay for now. If you want to hide the title, all you have to do is just uncheck this one and the title bar will be hidden. The version code and the version name will be helpful while you are upgrading your app. So for example, I have published the app by the version code 1 and the version name 1.0. I have to change the version code when I want to upgrade my app on Play Store. So it will check whether the version code has changed or whether the same app is being published again to show the upgrade option on Play Store. So you have to change the version code when you want to release an upgrade for your app on Play Store. Coming to the text box, the different properties that you can edit for a text box include the background color, which is default right now. Enable, what does an enable means? If you want to trigger the keyboard and allow the user to type something in the text box, then your text box should be enabled. When you disable this one, what happens is that it will be dead. It will be visible, but it will not be usable. Okay, if you want to make the font bold, then check this one, and there are different options to change the font typeface and font size. You have to download a font typeface and then import it here, because the options available by default are only few. That includes sans serif, serif, mono, space, and more. Okay, here comes sizing of this text box. Right now, the height and the width of this text box is automatic. I can change it by adding a percentage that will be related to the height of this screen. And when I add pixels, it will occupy the pixel space. And when I will click fill parent, it will fill the complete screen available there. So when I click this, now you can see here in the preview, it has occupied the complete height. But right now it's not necessary, so I'll just choose automatic. And even width, it's about, it is you can also just change that one. I want to choose a percentage for the width. I will go by 80 percentage. And below that, hint for text box 1. So this will be visible before the user actually adds something. In order to help the user know that this is a text box, it's better to add a hint there. I will just add as type here. If you want your text box to be multi-line, then you have to check this multi-line option, and then only the user can add more text of more than one line. I want this text box to be multi-line, and hence I will check this option. If you want to restrict the user to add only a number, how can the user be restricted? So when you just check this one, the numbers only option, whenever the user clicks the text box, it will open a keyboard, but only the numbers will be visible. No alphabets will be visible in order to be added on this text box. Apart from that, if you want to add a default text, you can also add it here in this text box available in the properties section. You can also decide the text alignment, whether it should be central align, left align, or right align. You have to select it here. You can find out that the 0, 1, and 2 are written here after the alignment name. So this is the code that you have to use in the block section in order to change the alignment based on any event that has occurred. Talking about the text color, you can change the text color and even the underline color. By default, you can also disable the components to be visible. So you have to just uncheck this box called visible in order to hide that components by default. And based on any event, if you want to make these components visible, this was the first video of creating a translator app. There is a lot more to learn and a lot more to do. So without wasting any time, just take a quick break and start watching the next video. So in the previous video, we were able to add a text box on the app. Now, this text box will be used by the user in order to add the text in their own language. We need another text box where we can display a text that has been translated. You can either use another text box or you can either use a label in place of another text box. But I think the text box provides a good look when compared to a label. So in order to add another text box, I have just clicked this drop down, user interface drop down, and under that, I will drag and drop another text box. Again, I have to go to the properties section where I have to change its properties as I have done for text box 1. I will not change the height, instead I will just change the width. I will set it to 80% and click on OK. I will change the hint for text box 2 and leave it empty. I will enable it to be a multi-line text box, and below that I will change the underlined color to none. Okay, we have added about 2 text boxes. It is okay. Now there is a question for you. I'm able to add a component below another component. What if I want this component to be positioned at extreme left at the bottom? It's not possible because everything will be aligned based on the alignment that you have set for screen 1. You cannot decide alignment for each and every component. You can decide the alignment of the complete screen, and any component that will be added will have the same alignment as set for the screen 1. In order to design your app in a perfect manner that you like, then you should have the capability to set the different components at the place of the screen that you want, and this will be enabled by the different layouts. You can access different layouts in this drop down, which is below user interface, that is called layout. Here you can find different layouts such as horizontal arrangement, horizontal scroll arrangement, table arrangement, vertical arrangement, and vertical scroll arrangement. So these are the different arrangements. When I just drag and drop the horizontal arrangement, it will occupy a particular area within the screen. So the layout section contains different layouts that you can make use of in order to arrange components in a perfect manner that you want. As the name suggests, this is the component which helps you to arrange the components horizontally. I will show you what does this mean. Let me drag and drop this text box. Now, as the arrangements height and width are set to automatic, it has occupied the area of the text box that we have added. Let me add another text box. So now you can clearly understand what horizontal arrangement means. As I've added both the text boxes, you can observe that they are placed in such a manner that one text box is placed next to another text box in horizontal manner. When I just select the vertical arrangement, what happens is that these components will be placed one after other in vertical manner, or you can say it as vertically downwards to each other. Let me just show you. I will just drag and drop this vertical arrangement, and I will just drag these two text boxes into that. It was actually closed, and hence I have just made it visible by going to the properties section, and in the properties section changing its width to fill parent. And now as it is visible, I will drag and drop another text box into it, and when I will drag and drop it, now the two text boxes are placed one below the other one. I need a vertical arrangement for these text boxes, and hence I will delete this horizontal arrangement. So this is how you group different components in order to make their positioning as desired by you. Apart from that, with the help of the horizontal scroll arrangement, you can add an arrangement where the components will be arranged horizontally, but they can be scrolled. Whereas in the horizontal arrangement, you can add the components, but the arrangement will not allow to scroll. All the components visible within the screen are the components which can be usable when added to a horizontal arrangement. But in the case of scroll arrangement, there are components that are also present beside the visibility and which can be visible when the user scrolls, and the same applies to the vertical scroll arrangement. So this was the reason why I have said you in the previous video, where I have said you that it's not necessary to make the screen one scrollable, because we have vertical scroll arrangement. If we wanted to add so many components and which occupy more space when compared to the area of screen, and hence you can make use of vertical scroll arrangement instead of making the screen one scrollable. So you will be scrolling just only this arrangement, other area will be still as it is. So this was the information that I wanted to share about layouts. I will also explain about the different components that you can add. The media drop-down contains different components such as the camcorder, camera, image picker, and more. So these components can be used in order to record a video, take a photo, and also there is a audio player, sound recorder, speech recognizer. The speech recognizer is used to change the voice of the user to a text, and the text to speech is used to convert the text to a speech. And here comes our another component, that is a video player, which helps you to play the videos which you upload to this app, or else you can also provide public URL for this video. Okay, there are two types of components available on app inventor, or you can say it as Thunkable, right? The components which can be visible on the preview section or the actual mobile app that you are creating. Whereas there are some other components which do not occupy any space and they are not visible, rather they do some work for your app. For example, if I just add a timer onto this app, it's not necessary that it should be visible, but actually it will be counting the time for you. And whenever the time that you have set as a time interval has finished, it will just helps you to know with the help of an event, and based on that and with the help of that event, you can make changes to the app. So there are components which are visible to the screen, and also there are components which work in background, and you can just access the features of this component in the block section. You cannot change their look or feel because they are not actually visible, but you can change their properties if available. In the drawing and animation section, you can find the canvas. The canvas is mainly used in order to create mobile game apps. So you can use the canvas. It contains amazing blocks which enhances the interactivity of the app and enables you to track the behavior of the user. And hence, this canvas, the image sprite, and the ball are used to create mobile games. In the sensors section, it contains different sensors such as accelerometer. The accelerometer detects the acceleration that you apply while shaking the phone. It also contains different events whether in order to know whether this phone has been shaken or not. The barcode sensor will help you to scan the barcode, and even these two components are the components which work in background. The barcode scanner, you cannot adjust its properties because it is having a default look while scanning, right? The clock is also a component which works in a background, and it contains the time interval after which an event will be enabled again and again until and unless you disable it. There are also different sensors such as location sensors, gyroscope, NFC sensor, orientation sensor. The orientation sensor will let you know with the help of an event when the orientation has been changed. The pedometer sensor will help you to count the steps that the user makes. The proximity sensor will detect the distance between your phone and the closer objects to it, and the location sensor is used to find the location of a particular user. Okay, these are all the different sensors. You can get more information about all the sensors by going to the documentation, and moreover you can have a short info about it while you click this help option. So here you have got a small information regarding this components, so you can just make use of all the sensors in order to enhance its performance. The idea is limitless. You have to create an idea. Most of the ideas do arise because of the problems that we have in our community, and also some ideas do arise because of your imagination. So your idea is the limit, and based on your idea you can create any kind of app that you want. And moreover, your app may be about any topic, but you have an opportunity to make use of all these sensors. So this can enhance the performance of any app that you create. So you should make use of it, and you should practice it first of all and make use of it when necessary. In the social section, you have got an option to pick the contact that is saved in the mobile phone. You can pick an email. You can also make a phone call right from your app instead of going to another default app of the mobile phone. You can also pick a number that is present or saved. Okay, the sharing button helps you to share any image or any message to another apps. So by default, the content that you are sharing, depending on that, it will show the different apps that are installed on your mobile phone in order to share this content to that app. Apart from that, you can also make use of the texting. You can also make use of a Twitter API as it is served as a component here. In the storage section, you can get to know about different components such as storing a file. This file denotes a text file, and the Fusion tables control. With this one, you can store the information of your app online on the Fusion tables that you own. If you don't know what Fusion tables is, then just go and Google it. Fusion tables is an amazing app that is created by Google, and it works as a SQL database, and it will help you to store all the information at one place. The TinyDB is a small database that can be used to store the data on a mobile device, whereas the TinyWebDB, it is also same as TinyDB, but here you are going to store the information on web, and it can be retrieved on any device instead of only retrieving it on a particular device. But if you are using TinyWebDB, then by default it will be stored in the web database that is created by Thunkable. It's okay to use it while creating your app, but once if you want to deploy it or publish it to Play Stores, then you should create your own WebDB with the help of different platforms. For example, Google App Engine. Talking about visualization, here you have got Google Maps, and with the help of Google Maps, there are so many options available in the block section of Google Maps. You can draw polylines and so many things with the help of this Google Maps component. In the connectivity section, you have got different options. With the help of Activity Starter, you can start any app. The web component here is used to get the information from APIs. You can say a API as a part of a database or a service which is provided to be used publicly by any other website or mobile apps, whether it may be a free or for a fair price. This can be used by others in their own apps and websites. So this is an interface. So it's a particular format with the help of which we can retrieve the information or the service from others, and this is what we call API. This component is very important for us. We are going to use web component in order to get the text translated text from Google Translate API. Okay. In the artificial intelligence section, you have got two components, emotion recognizer and image recognizer, which are from Microsoft, and these components are also an APIs, but here they are served as a component. With the help of these APIs, you can get the information regarding the emotion or the image that you submit or post to the Microsoft Emotion Recognizer. Okay, for example, I have just added a emotion recognizer component on my app, and I have just uploaded or posted an image. In return, I will get a response which states the emotion of the particular man or a woman who is present in that image. And even the image recognizer also works as same, but here we will get the information regarding the image, what is present in the image. We will get the information regarding that. And here you have got another drop down where you can find different components with the help of which you can customize the Lego Mindstorms. So these are some robotic toys, and with the help of this you can program them. The procedure how they work, you can just handle it with the help of Lego Mindstorms. I think it's so. I don't have enough knowledge regarding Lego Mindstorms. You can get it from the documentation section. In the experimental section, you can find different components such as Firebase DB, AdMob Banner Ad, AdMob Interstitial, Cloudinary DB, spreadsheets, and more. So the Cloudinary DB and spreadsheets. Cloudinary DB is a database where we can store the image and video files. And in spreadsheets, spreadsheets work same as the Fusion tables in order to organize the information. Talking about the AdMob banner and interstitial ads, these two components will allow you to show or display the ads on your mobile phone. And the push notification is a component with the help of which you can send push notification. This one works even if the app has been closed, and for this one you should go to the One Signal website and create an account there. Talking about extension, this is the last drop down that you have. As I have said that you can create extensions. Uh, if you want to create an extension, there is an article present in MIT App Inventor. You can just go there. There is a certain information present, and even there are tutorials and videos present on YouTube with the help of which you can get to know how to create an extension. You should have knowledge of Java programming. I think intermediate knowledge regarding Java programming is enough for that based on what I have heard. Okay, I have not yet created extension, but this is what I have heard. And it may also depend on the component that you're creating, right? After creating an extension, you can import it here. You can identify that the particular file is an extension. If the file contains .aix at the end, then it will be used as a extension here. Okay, you can find different extensions created by different extension developers on the community of thunkable.com, community of Appy Builder, and even in Puravida apps. The list of all the available extensions is present there, and even the information regarding the extensions created by Typhon are also available there. If you know how to create extension, then you can make use of it in order to in order to get the desired component and create a app which is desirable for you and add the features that you want. So that is what an extension means. Apart from the available components, You can also add the components or the features that you want by creating an extension and importing here. You offer importing here, as you have done for other components. You have to just drag and drop it, and this completes the introduction to the interface. And we have also added a arrangement and two text boxes. In the coming videos I will explain you a lot more, and this has completed the introduction to the interface. Okay. The block section of the Thunkable app is a very important place. The design is the section where you add different components and adjust their default positioning and the size and the look of the screen, how it should be. You make the changes related to that. But in order to make your app functional, you have to come to the block section and make use of the different blocks in order to create a perfect function based on the events that arise in your app. So we are creating an app, and the app contains different user interface components such as the text box, the buttons, and more. And if we want to make this app responsive and interactive based on what the user does, and hence in order to detect the activity of the user, the event blocks are present. The event blocks allows us to make the changes to the apps whenever the event takes place. So the event blocks indicates that the particular event has occurred in our app, and it asks us to do something as the particular event has been occurred. It's not necessary that every time an event occurs, you should do something to your app. The event blocks are the blocks related to a component. For example, we have added a text box 1 and text box 2. The event blocks are related to the components that you add. So here, text box 1, when I just click this one, at the top, you can find the event blocks. So when the text box 1 got focus, so when user has just clicked the text box 1, what should be done? You should show the keyboard, you should change the color of the text box 1, you should change the font size, you should add something in addition. You can do anything based on this event. So it will just notify you and also provides the do section included in this event block in order to do something. Whenever I just keep my cursor on any one of the block, it will give me a small comment, and the small comment informs me about the purpose of this block. So you can get to know about different block, what is the purpose of different blocks by just keeping the cursor on them. However, these comments are not available for each and every block, but it is included for the important blocks that are present here. So you should get a clear idea that in order to make any changes in your app, particularly event should occur. Okay, as this is a text box, these are the simple events that will occur. But if there is a button, then when the button will be clicked, then the event will be something as when button will be clicked. So it will allow you to do something when the button will be clicked. Apart from that, you can also find the events related to screen 1. So this is the screen 1 blocks related to screen 1, and the different events that can occur in the screen 1 is when the user has clicked back button when he's present in screen 1. So the event will arise, and what you should do, you can just close the app, or else you can ask the user to click the back button again. And even the block saying when screen 1 initialize is present, which uh, which arises when the screen 1 has opened, and as it is the first screen of our app, this is the time when the app is also just open, and this event will run, and you can make changes to the app by using different control statements or anything. Apart from that, you can also find this other kind of blocks such as this one saying set about screen. So your app will have a about screen option which will be shown to the user, where you can give the information about this app or this particular screen. And apart from that, in the block section, you can also change the alignment of screen 1. How should the components that are added on screen 1 should be aligned, whether they should be center aligned or whether they should be aligned to the top or whether they should be aligned to the bottom. You can also change the background color of the screen 1, and there are different blocks related to the different components, and you can get to know about what the block says by just reading it. Here you can see it, set screen 1 background image 2. So this asks you to give the name of the image which you want to set as a background image for this screen 1. And this kind of blocks should be connected to an event in order to make the change to the app. If these are not connected to any event, then it doesn't do anything. And apart from this kind of blocks, there are other blocks. These are component related blocks. The blocks which are connected, which are based on the components that you are using in this app. Whereas the other kind of blocks that you can find here include the built-in blocks. The built-in blocks exist even if you don't add any kind of component. Even screen 1 blocks will appear because we are present in screen 1, right? The built-in blocks contain different blocks such as control blocks, the logic blocks, and more. When I click on control, you can find different blocks which help you to do a check. And if the check that you run returns a true statement, then if you want to make any changes in the app, you can add that in the then section or in the do section present here. For example, here there is a if then block. So for the if block, for example, you check whether the background color is blue, and if it is blue, then if you want to make some changes, then that should be added in the then section. Let me just drag it and also explain you about gear icon. This gear icon indicates that this block can also be modified. It can be modified by connecting else if and else statements. So when I will just drag and attach this else block to this if one, the actual block has been modified by adding the else statement at the end. So you will check first of all whether something is true, and if that is true, in the then section you will add the blocks to run when the particular statement is true. And if it is not true, then you will add the different blocks in the else statement that should run if the statement is false. You can also make use of the else if blocks. You should also connect that one here. So when I just connected else if block here, you can find that the actual block has been modified by adding the else if and then to this actual block. So first of all, it will check what you have added in the if statement, and if it is true, then it will do all the things that you add in the then section. And again it will run else if the first statement or the first check that you have made was false, it will again check. Else if some other thing is true, then it will do all the changes that you add here in the then section. And if both first and second check that you make were false, it will go to the else statement, and whatever you add here, it will be done if both the checks that you made were false. So this is a control block, and similarly you can find different control blocks. When I just click the control, you can find different control blocks. So this one is a loop. For you should attach a list to this one, and for each item present in that list, it will do the changes, it will make the changes that are added in the do section. In order to check something, you have to come to the logic section of built-in blocks, where you can find different useful blocks such as true false statement. The true false blocks can be used in order to check whether something is true or false. It also contains the equal to block, which should be used to check something. So I'll drag this block and connect it to the if block. And when I will connect this block to the if block, I will also check the background color. So here is a block saying screen 1 background color, which will give me the information about the background color of the screen. I have to drag it and add it here. And now I will go to the colors section. And here I can find different colors, and you can also make a color by, if you know the RGB value, by the block that you are seeing at the bottom. And here this is a white color. I will drag and drop this white color, and now it will check whether the background color is white, and if it is white, then in whatever I add to the then section, this changes will take place. So as this block is not connected to any other block, it doesn't affect anything because it's not attached to any of the event, right? Hence it doesn't make any changes to the app. When it will be connected to any of the event blocks, such as when screen is initialized, then it will make changes to the block when the screen will be initialized, and hence it is being showing as a minor error here. So I'll click show warnings, and it will show that this is a warning. And when I click this one, it will show a comment saying you should fill all the sockets with the block. So this contains another error. It says all the sockets should be full, and also it should be connected to a particular event. I will drag this block and throw it in the dustbin. So in the similar manner, you can find different built-in blocks, such as the blocks related to mathematical operations, such as adding, subtraction, multiplication, and also other blocks. In the text block, you can find different blocks that can be used in order to find the length of a particular text. And if you want to join two different paragraphs of text and make it into a single text or a single text string, then this join block can be used. And there are other useful blocks present in this section. In the list blocks, you can find the blocks that can be used in order to create a list, in order to insert a item at a particular place or a particular index in the list. And the colors block contains the different colors. If you know RGB value for a particular color, then you can also make use of this block saying make color, which is connected to a list, and this list has the values of R, G, and B, that is red, green, and blue. Coming to the down variables block, you can create variables which are very useful. And what will be the variable that you create? It can be used at different places within the blocks editor, or rather you can say it as at different events in the blocks editor. The procedure blocks can also be called as functions, and in the procedure block you add the default do blocks. So if you want to do something, for example set the background image to some other value and do a set of operations together, and you are using it again and again for different events, then instead of adding all those blocks individually again and again, you can create a procedure and connect all those blocks to this procedure, and it will create another block which will be the name of this procedure. And in order to change the name of the procedure, you have to keep your cursor here and change the name of this procedure, and the new blocks will be created which will have the name that you have set. And instead of adding all the blocks again and again, you can just connect this procedure block, and it will serve the same purpose as it was doing earlier. So this was a brief introduction regarding the built-in blocks. You'll get to know more about the built-in blocks and any other blocks while we are actually creating the app, and also when you start practicing. And for more information, you can also go to the documentation section of Thunkable website. On the right hand side at the bottom, you can find a dustbin. This dustbin serves a purpose to delete the blocks. You can also delete, duplicate, copy, paste the blocks by right clicking on the block. You can duplicate that. You can also add your own comment to these blocks, where you can say what those this blocks, so what's the purpose of these blocks. You can just add that comment here. You can collapse these blocks. If the area that these blocks are covering is more, then you can just hide that all the procedure in by clicking on collapse the block. You can disable the block. The purpose of disable block is that it will stop running this operation. So even though these blocks are present on the editor, they don't do anything for your app. Adding to backpack, so this is I will explain you what a backpack is. And here you can find the delete 7 blocks. So what is a backpack? Here on the right hand side you can find a backpack. In case of Android Studio, you can copy and paste the code from wherever, whether it may be the websites such as Stack Overflow, GitHub, or even from any other place where the code is available. You can just copy from there and paste it to Android Studio. But in case of Thunkable, you can copy and paste the blocks only within the blocks editor. If you want to paste it in some other project, then you have to add it to the backpack and you can access that blocks with the help of the backpack. When you click this backpack, you can find the different blocks that I have added to the backpack. These blocks were actually added from some other project that I have created. And this can be pasted in any of the projects that are created within Thunkable. So here I have these blocks. These blocks are showing that it contains a major error. The reason why the major error exists is that these blocks are related to the components which are not actually added onto the app. The Web1 component is not yet added, but we are using this block and hence this error is being displayed. So let us just drag and throw it into the dustbin. So this is the use of the backpack. The zoom in and zoom out button is used here because the blocks editor is an infinite canvas. You can add as many blocks as you want. You can zoom out as much as possible because the area is limitless, and hence in order to focus a particular area where you are using the blocks right now, where you're working with some of the blocks, this zoom in and zoom out buttons can be used. However, you can also make use of the mouse that you are having. And above this zoom in and zoom out buttons, you can find another button which helps you to zoom out to that extent from where you can see all the blocks that you have added on to this blocks editor. We have added a arrangement and two text boxes into it. Now we want to translate the text which will be added in the from language text box. Whatever be the text that will be added in this text box, it should be translated and it should be shown to the user in this text box. In order to translate anything, we should make use of a translator API or the Yandex Translate component available on Thunkable. But before talking about the process of translation, you have to notice one thing. Whenever the user wants to translate the text that he will be adding in this from language text box, we need an event to detect that the user wants to translate right at this point of time. And we can get to know it by adding a button. Let me drag and drop and add a button here. And with the help of this button, we will be translating the text that will be added in the from language text box. Let me rename this button as translate. I will click on OK and I will even change the text of the button. So with this button comes blocks which can detect that the user has clicked it, and when the user will click this button, we will ask the translate component to translate the text that has been added on from language text box. Let me go to the blocks section and show you the blocks which we can make use of in order to call a method which can translate the text for us. Let me select this component called translate, and at the top we have got a block which says when translate button dot click do. Let me drag this. In the do section, I can add any block which I want to do when this event occurs. Apart from this event, the button contains different other events, such as when the button has got focused, or when the user has long clicked that button. The long click means when the user has just clicked it and hold the button for a long time and released it, then the when translate long click event will occur. And apart from that, you can also set the background color of the translate button. You can enable or disable a button. The enable and disable feature allows you to switch off and on all the operations that are related to the button. So right now, whenever the button will be clicked, an event called translate.click will occur. And whatever I will add in the do section of that event, it will take place. But when I will set the buttons enabled feature to false, then all that blocks will not run. The button will not be clicked and no event will occur when the button will be clicked. I have to rather set this translate button to enabled in order to make the button functionable. And apart from that, there are other features which you can edit in the block section that are related to this button. So this was the information that I wanted to share regarding the button, and in the next video we will be talking about how we are going to translate the text that the user wants the app to translate.